All right, we are back at the Ultimate Life course today with my boy Rolo, and I feel like there are several reasons why I wanted to interview you today.
Okay.
First of all, um, for one, I'm doing Erasmus here, and I feel like you're the first person that I see sort of as a friend, and that's because
Wow.
you seem to truly get me, and I feel understood by you. I was actually thinking while I was showering about you just. No, and I was thinking, what do I find so fascinating about you? And it's really your ability to understand people and understand others and make them feel understood.
Wow. Thanks.
And you also have a great ability to listen. And you also told me that you came here with that intent to be a little bit more quiet and learn and listen, and that I see that you take in what is being discussed and then actually transfer that into your art, and that is something really special. And I think a lot of people, we can just talk to each other. By the way. A lot of people can learn from that. And now, why did you come here with that decision to, I guess, be a little more reserved?
Like kind of go into a shell, sort of. Like okay.
Yeah, you how you expressed it.
All right. So, do I have to look in the camera?
No. You can just talk to me.
Okay. Basically, what happened was, when I'm at home and stuff, and I'm talking with friends and family, I'm usually very like outspoken and more so out. Like I put myself out there, and even when I'm at school, back in Canada, like Waterloo, I'm like very much, at least I try to be, I'm like very open to socializing, but a lot of my day is gone through like alone, as most people go through, you're doing your thing, going through the activities of the day. But before I came here, I was just like, okay, I have a specific set of goals and I want to really absorb the culture and meet new people and really flex my
your muscles.
Yeah, not only flex my muscles, but I wanted to just practice socializing, especially because this opportunity allows us to be around people from different backgrounds, societies, upbringings, and most times, when people are from where they are from. Sorry, that sounded weird. When people are
most of the time people are from where they are from.
So when people
Crazy
come from
thing.
where they do, they're used to a certain type of what's the word, constructs and like societal things. Like okay, for example, in Canada, people are nice. Like, oh hey, I'm sorry, like my bad. That type of culture and stuff, and people are more so open to talking, I guess, or meeting. Which I also find happens here, but I notice, for example, I've been meeting people from France and meeting people from Australia, and their mannerisms are also very different. So, in that sense, I just wanted to take the opportunity to kind of like understand everyone and just like feel how everyone is comfortable communicating, so then I can then communicate with them and connect with them in that sense. So I chose more to talk less and listen more, which is something I did in my past, and it worked out really well in terms of self-development and like just me growing as a person and maturing from the inside, so I thought once in a while you need that, and this term that I'm going to be here is a really good time to just do that.
Yeah, and also you're not reserved at all. You're sitting the whole time in the kitchen with all the different people.
Yeah.
You're just actually living the principle of seek first to understand, then to be understood. I feel like. Would you agree?
I would say it's more so I'm kind of like sitting there in the background. Like I'm there. I'm not completely quiet. If someone wants to talk and and I'll like contribute to the conversation, I'll like be like my true self, but I'll always hold back a little bit because I really want to hear what everyone has to say, what people bring to the table, how they like to communicate. Because I think one thing that's important with like talking to other people and getting a really good organic conversation is matching people's frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
So say you're talking to someone who's quiet, you know, or very like reserved, you want to kind of approach them with the same type of energy. You know, for example, I know I'm not a morning person at all.
Mm-hmm.
I hate well, it can change, but right.
Hey, I gifted you that present,
Yeah.
morning mastery thingy.
Exactly. So, and thank you. But most times, I find in the mornings, it takes me like an old Windows like 95 computer, just like starting up, like you know what I mean. And so like the first couple hours of the day, after I wake up, I'm usually very very quiet, and yeah, like. I can't even remember where I was going with that.
No worries.
I lost my train of thought, but yeah. Yeah, sorry.
No worries. So your background is that you're from Canada, but your parents are from India, and you have been with me to like the spiritual center, and I think this is for you the beginning, but your parents sort of primed you that you can that you're curious about spirituality. Am I right?
Yeah. I would say my parents, it's mainly my mom's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And this is because this is okay. My mom always said things in such a way that was worded really well for me to receive it, if that makes sense. And it wasn't.
That is something that you can do as well.
Yeah, what's up?
No, maybe you got that from your mom. That's what I wanted to express. That this is what is so impressive. You understand how people can understand you first, and then you express your authentic self to them so they can receive you.
Maybe. I had to think about that for a sec. But yeah, in a weird way, yeah. So me kind of first seeing the field, I guess, so to speak, like the people in in this situation on our floor where we live, I'm still learning a lot about everyone, and it's only been about like 2 months in, so I'm very careful still, but at the same time, I'm making sure that I'm not offending anyone and I'm not overdoing my interactions, so to speak. So I'm not like just talking to someone for the sake of trying to like get to know them, because I feel like some people, they really like take pride in that personal space and like time alone, because we're in such a social setting, you know what I mean? Like we all live in the same hallway, we share multiple spaces together, and like the campus is so small, you're bound to see someone, right? So all of that plays a factor into like, at least I put it into my perspective. I'm a person who's, I'd like to believe, equally as social and introverted, so extroverted and introverted, and I think people also are the same. So whether you sway towards one side or the other side, like everyone still values that decompression time. So yeah, I'm going back to the original question because I dance a lot around the questions. Is yeah, my mom, she said things to me in such a way that she'd always tell me like there's a lot like lessons to be learned in life, and if you don't learn the lesson, it's gonna come back and bite you, and you won't be able to like move on from it. And that being said, you know, some things till this day I'm still working on, and it's difficult, but she's right. And then like in that same sense, I didn't know this until later on in my life, that a lot of the ways I think was very similar to how she also interprets things, and things have been passed down through our like family. So like from my great grandma, someone like a mother up there in the
Yeah,
lineage.
yeah, in the lineage.
She is like very, very like almost every okay. People say you die. Bless you. People say you die twice, and that's like your physical self, and then like the magic or imagery or memories around you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's some people who are like immortal, like let's say like Michael Jackson, right? He's technically immortal, like the Beatles, those types of people. To some, but generally to the public, they're like immortal. But I noticed how people talk about my great grandma, one of them, and even on my mom's and dad's side. So like it's like a perfect mixture. But yeah, I'm gonna talk about mainly like my mom's side. She is very well known. Even when we bring up her name, people instantly say she was such a good woman. Like she's so genuine, and like that, knowing that, and then that being passed on to my grandma because that was like her mom, and then my grandma also being the exact same type of woman, and then just being very like pure and generous and kind and compassionate. She passed that down to my mom, and then my mom, I guess, subtly passed it down to me. So
fascinating. Do you think about your lineage?
I think about it a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Like it in some ways, one time like I had an existential crisis about like how things, like I think in visuals, so like
I know, yeah.
how I pictured it was just like I'm this small figure, but like through the lineage there's like traits and like colors or something being passed down into like my swirl of like people or like person, my mind, how it works. And like I actually believe that's true, because if you think about it, like would you say like you have traits from both your mom and your dad?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And then those things, the good ones that you believe are good, will also get passed down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just through like raising up a child or whatever, or like even through like close friends. Even I would go so far to say like that could count as family too. People you grow up with who are not necessarily blood related, you can pass on these things. So if you see, it's all like connected, not only within our families, but like if you have good intent and like good morals and like compassion towards others, you know, like it permeates like outwards, not down like your lineage, but also outwards in each generation. Yeah.
Do you feel like there's sort of a responsibility on you that you have to create that you make sure that really the good ones are being taught to your kids, and you sort out what is good for your future children and not? Like I was just wondering.
If I think about what would potentially be passed on to like.
Yeah. Also as a character and so.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
No. I would have to say like, I do think about these things all the time. You know, like one thing that stuck with me that I heard is that your parents are also new to being parents, if that makes sense. So you can't fully, like as you grow up, you'll realize, oh yeah, like XYZ was wrong, but then again, you have to like understand that they were also learning too. And if you have multiple siblings, it shows how their parenting like progresses. It's like levels as well. So as you have a child or like adopt a child of any sort, that child will teach the parents something, and just like how your parents teach you something. Yeah. So it's like back and forth. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Did I answer the question though?
I think it matters more if we can give something that is valuable for the viewers. So
Okay.
cool. What do you feel? Because I'm too ADHD to remember all
No,
my
same.
questions.
Like I'm like also like when you ask me the question, I'm like shit. Okay, I want to answer this question like, to the best of my ability and like tell people who are watching this, like, I don't know, something maybe they could take away.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time, I'm also trying to be thorough. So then I dance around it, and then I just fully forget the question, and then yeah. But
let's dive into.
this is like this is like a video. Two guys who have like mild like
ADHD.
things,
And
but,
always
like,
forget what they're
and then
asking.
we're like
and
just
answering.
having a conversation without any context. Yeah.
Okay, let's give this a little bit more context.
Okay.
So, for one, how do you make sure that you become a good teacher for life? Because yesterday, for your children, kind of, because you become the example. Yesterday I talked actually in my video about Lineage, which is kind of fascinating because you brought it up today. And yeah.
Yeah.
So, how does one, as a pre-parent, I called yesterday's video a pre-parenting.
Okay.
What would you want one day to teach your kids?
What is
Imagine this video would be watched by your kids.
Shit.
Yeah, man, that's actually possible. That's the crazy thing.
Damn. I mean, unless we mess up the earth and then we don't have kids.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
To be honest, kids, if you're watching this, this is how I met your mother. Nah, I'm playing. I'm trying to think. Okay, I would say one of the most important things that. How many things can I give?
Go, just express what comes to you.
Okay, one thing that I find is amazing in ways that can't really fathom or explain is the law of attraction. And so if you really believe and you think in such a way that you can manifest things, it'll happen for you. Okay. In such a weird way. So a simple way to put this, kids, is life is amazing if you let it. So what I mean by that is, for example, say, like, actually, no, wait, I can't, I feel like it'll be too long if I explain it, but that's the first point. Law of attraction and, like, positivity, especially. If you think constantly at a positive frequency, everything you do and your actions will be based on that and fueled by that intent. And, you know, it literally permeates. Like, where I see this happen in my life is I have, I guess, a pretty decent ability to, like, befriend almost anyone, if I really want to. But yeah, you just have to push that, like, positivity and, like, frequency out, that energy, and, like, love. That's the second point. So love, which is something my mom told me. Like, just, like, love everyone and respect everyone, you know. So that, like, goes 2 and 2. So yeah, positivity, love, respect, and I would also say, know yourself. That's, like, super important. Like, you might not find, some people don't reach this point in their lives till later on, and that's fine. And some people reach this point, like, really early on, like maybe like elementary school or something, and that's also fine too. But I think it is absolutely imperative, like necessary for every single person to understand and, like, understand themselves and just self-reflect every now and then and just know what feeds your soul. And what I mean by that is, you know, for example, feed your soul as long as it doesn't harm you, because health is wealth, and this is our bodies that are going to take us through, like, the course of life. You know, it's like a vehicle, so you have to literally, like, fuel it properly and, you know, treat it really, really well, or else you're going to have to end up taking a bunch of pills and go to, like, the doctor every couple of weeks, which would suck, and then you wouldn't be able to, like, enjoy the fruits of life, right? So yeah, just like on a daily basis, just be healthy. I personally have a struggle with like sleeping. I'm like a night owl, so like I really like become energetic and like am most productive at night, which is like something I'm trying to change. But there's just something so attractive of like about like the night vibe. It's like a very like quiet, but you can also get that in the early morning too. So that's something I'm also trying to experiment with. But yeah, as I was saying, yeah, you just have to find yourself what feeds your soul. People that also feed your soul, you'll feel it. Like it's more like organic. You don't really have to say, oh, okay, you'll know someone feeds your soul when you enjoy their company and it's really free flow. Like there's no what am I gonna say next? What are they like saying? You're really thinking about it. If it's really just like you're being your most true self and they're being their most true self, and you'll feel like happy. It's like energy exchange. You're both feeding each other, like, you know what I mean, like like that. Yeah, because some people will have such a personality that will tend to like pull energy from you even more so than what you're giving out, instead of both exchanging the energy of the two people. And so yeah, that's something I find is really, really important. So you, just like understanding yourself, which you like, even in terms of like clothing, like some people, they often are just so consumed by consumerism. They're just so into like buying so many things and like not really feeling like they have enough when like like shoes and clothes are enough, you know. If you have things that, you know, mean something to you, even if it's not like a name brand, that like how I put it into in the terms of like clothing thing,
Okay.
is like if you were on if you were in a forest or like a desert island and you could pack like one outfit or maybe two outfits, what would be in those things? And those are probably the things at, sorry, I ate a lot of food, got a burp. At that point in time, those are the things that like really fuel you. And like this shirt I'm wearing right now, I got it at a thrift store, and it's not so much the branding, but I like the embroidery of this like little image here. It has like lots of color on it, and it also like I think fits like my body pretty like perfectly. So I'm like, yo, this is a cool
Looking
shirt.
good.
Yeah, and so I brought it to, thanks. I brought it to Sweden. Like most of the stuff I came here with is things that I feel are kind of fuel me throughout the day. It's not just like random pieces of clothes, because I've bought expensive designer stuff and it doesn't fill the hole that some people feel through buying
I think that's
things.
where we come back to your frequency, setting your own frequency, and then aligning even the outer world to your frequency.
Yeah.
Meaning your clothes, everything should become from the space of power or power or love. So knowing yourself and raising your vibration in a spiritual way of expressing it is really like the two core tenets that I felt out of this.
So raising your frequency and
Meaning for the law of attraction to work, for raising everyone around you, for loving, and which is all respect. All these things you talked about can be summarized sort of in raising your vibration, and the other thing is knowing yourself, so you know who you are authentically and you don't overstep your own boundaries.
Exactly. Because the more you find yourself and you know who you are, once you reach that point, it'll feel super good, because you'll just feel free. Like free from like social constraint, free from like people's opinions,
because you already know who you are, that you don't have to get
you don't
their
have
labels.
you don't have to be someone else. Like Who you are on a daily basis will never change because like you're not gonna like switch up on some people and like then on some next on some next people you'll just be like a totally different person. Not like you'll be the same person, but you might fine tune like parts of how you interact to accommodate, which is I guess what I do. So I find that works for me. Yeah, just like kind of once you talk to the person and you understand how they interact, what feeds them and their like energy and makes them happy, and how to make them comfortable, then you will know how to interact with them and how much of yourself to really like put out there. Yeah.
A lot of people criticize the law of attraction for being an excuse for just thinking positively and then not acting on it really. And how would you respond to people that are like cynical about, oh yeah, right, if I write down a check of $1 million and I think about it every day and I imagine having all this money rain down, why don't I get it?
Or well, okay, I don't want to go into like a deep water here, but
yeah, why not?
Okay, sure.
Let's dive in.
Okay, so personally, I feel it's almost like praying in a way. Some people will like praying doesn't necessarily work in terms of like saying, "Oh, tomorrow I want this," or "This will happen like right away," or immediate change will not happen. It's more in the sense of I want these things to happen in my life and throughout my lifetime, which I think is synonymous with the law of attraction in a way. It's not so much going through a ritualistic like routine of doing these things to manifest X, right? It's more so you keep it in your mind all the time because, for example, I read somewhere or I learned this in class, like how you think influences your actions, and then your actions will like influence, I think. Do you mind if I pull up my phone so I can read it?
Yeah, no worries.
Or influence like your environment, and then from there it's like a cycle, and I truly think like that's true. But while I find it, I'll tell you, in my case, I think you really just have to know how what you want, and once you know that thing and you have your mind set on this ambition of yours, or like number one, you just gotta believe in yourself. Like, I'm that guy, or girl or person.
I'm that girl.
I'm the shit. Like, I can do this. And because if you think about it, every day you're alone with your own thoughts. Like, if you don't win the battle against your own mind, then you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
If you are literally like, I can't do this, you already lost. But if you tell yourself, you know what, I'm gonna do this. Like, I can do this. Then even if you don't do it, like, you'll go from like if you want to go from A to Z or Z, you might be like, okay, I didn't get from A to Z, however you guys say it. I'm gonna say Z.
You mean this one, right?
This one, yeah.
Yeah.
So even if you don't go from there to there, you at least hit like F, and that's not so bad because that just took maybe like 2 days, right? And then if you don't get from F to like J, then it's okay. Like it's a process, but as long as you're in the right mindset to receive these things that like life will throw at you, because it's so random and like amazing in that sense, I think. It's crazy what you'll find can happen to you. You know, like without even.
Did you mean maybe the one with like beliefs influences your actions, influences your thoughts influences your actions, and then
I found it. It says, in everyday life, we move through our world in relationship to each other, our environment, and ourselves according to our needs physically, emotionally, and spiritually. We also move in response to our environment, other characters, and ourselves. In short, we stage ourselves according to our needs, right? We make assumptions about people's attitudes and feelings as we observe their movements in relationship to each other and the environment. And most likely, we all make the same assumptions about these individuals based on their physical behavior. So just like pre note, this is like part of a film thing. So they're talking about staging and how we look at people through film and their actions. But this applies to I took a picture of it because I feel like it applies to life. So long story short, our physical behavior directly reflects our emotional state, and the reverse is also true. So physical behavior and body language can trigger specific emotional responses. So if you're constantly thinking, how I picture it is like you're a rocket ship, but your main engine is fueled on this ambition you have, or like your dream, or like what your passion is, whatever it may be. For some people, it could be like getting their parents a house, or like some people could be like, I want to be a fireman, I want to own my own company someday, right? As long as you have that in your fuel tank, revolutionize education. As long as you have that in your fuel tank, it will always push you forward. Like nothing will stop you, because no matter what, every day you'll think, okay, what am I doing? It's like in your subconscious already. So all your actions towards these things will push you in the same direction.
And you raise your emotion, and you change your emotion on a daily basis, really, when you think about it, and your emotions then influence your physical states, and then when you are already in action, then this influences again your emotions, and it becomes an upward cycle, sort of.
Yeah, and like also once you really, like, I feel like everything in life, your experiences, like your reaction to events and things that happen around you. So like say I drop a spoon on the floor, I can react to it like really negatively, or I can react to it really positively. Damn, I can't speak sometimes.
No
I guess
worries.
camera shy. I don't know. So
No, you're doing great, man.
when you meet people, I could say, you know what, my frame of mind is negative. Like I'm not down. I'm not in the mood to socialize. I just, like, this person already, I saw them like flip off an old lady. Like I'm just not down to talk to them, right? And then you may never know, that person could be like a fork in the road type of person in your life that will change the course of or direction of your life, like merely based on, you know, how you perceive the person. But if you, this is just an example, so we're talking about a person, but if you say, you know what, like I saw them flip off the grandma and they're already like, you know, obnoxious, whatever, but I don't know what they went through that day. I don't know their situation. Like that's their experience and what they're going through. Like I don't know, but I'm open and happy to learn about it. So let's talk, right? And then when you do this, like you can learn a lot of crazy stuff if you're just willing to receive it, as I said earlier. Like life is crazy if you're willing for it to be.
I in my head just popped a quite personal question. It's okay if you don't want to answer it.
No, where's the question? No, I'm kidding. Yeah,
no, where's the question?
No, ask me.
I feel a lot of people that are so aware went through a really, really dark time once in their life, and then made a decision that you're taking charge of your life. Is that maybe true for you?
A dark time in my life. I would have to say, you know, what were you gonna say?
Maybe, or what led you to make that decision to become so aware, I guess?
I would say it's really different for every person.
Of course.
Some aren't necessarily bad for every,
No worries.
for every person. In my experience, like I could be looking at it as bad. Yeah, I did look at it as bad, but now I really am happy I went through these things.
Yeah, I get that. I absolutely understand what
otherwise, like, I wouldn't be the person I am today.
Yeah.
So, in that sense, I would have to say, I guess moving. Okay, one fork in the road situation that I really realized was like moving. So like when I moved from Scarborough to Richmond Hill, I really felt like that difference in people and the maturity of the kids, even like how fast in Scarborough, kids were like learning about like drugs and all this other stuff, like sex at such a young age, versus like the super vanilla kids from the suburbs in Richmond Hill. And yeah, that was just something I was always really like curious about in a way. I was kind of like, this is so weird, but I was a kid at the time, so I didn't really think of anything of it. But yeah, I would say like moving schools kind of like sparked, you know when you like spark a lighter and there's that little spark. It's kind of like that small spark before the flame comes out. It's just like the seed being planted.
I love that you describe everything so visually.
Yeah, that's what I do. So yeah, I think in that sense, I wouldn't say it's a dark moment, but that is something that kind of like primed me to realize like I guess life is like really different. You meet different people and they all like play a role in like how you turn out. Like the friends I was hanging out with in Scarborough are different from my friends who I grew up with now in Richmond Hill. They're very different types of people. I think, well, we were all really young. And then I'm gonna have to say like continuing on that kind of path, it's like that moment, like that fork in the road, led me to another portion of my life that taught me a lot too. And then that's when, so what happened was I went to another school. I transferred to another school. So from elementary school, I went to this one school, and it was because my home was within the borders of this school, but it was like kind of far away, and I was really skeptical to go there because a lot of my friends, because like the elementary school I went to, like people just like went to different places because there were so many schools around that like the borders you can kind of like choose, I guess, sort of, if you like transfer or whatever, or like have a good reason. So I was reluctant to go to the school because I had minimal friends going there, but I was like, whatever. Like at first I was like, yo, whatever, it's gonna be new, it's like cool, like high school is gonna be fun. And then
high school's gonna be fun.
yeah, and then like I got there, and then I just learned so much from like being, I don't know, in a different, I guess, division of the suburb I was in. Like people grow up different. Like you know what I mean? Like family based. Like I'm not gonna say like it's a cultural thing, but like.
But what was the moment that you? Was there any moment where you would say?
Are you saying like what is the thing that like triggered that like
decision to?
It's like when like Pikachu gets like that Thunderstone, or
exactly,
not Thunderstone,
exactly.
but like I don't know if that's the right stone. I haven't played Pokemon in a long time, but yeah, like a Pokemon gets their stone and they evolve. What's my stone?
What's your stone? Oh, that's so.
In all honesty, I'd have to say going through puberty, which is weird. Going through puberty and having acne.
Oh, interesting.
That was like the stone for me.
Yeah.
Receiving that, and then what I was saying before is like kind of, you know, you feel things and you interpret things the way you will interpret it, like positive or negative in your life. And at that moment, I just kept thinking very negative and receiving that understanding, you know, and
interesting.
that happening.
How did you get over your acne?
Honestly, I just grew out of it. Sad,
right.
like okay, like
Yeah, no
I just
worries.
had to go through like that path.
Did you ever accept
the
it?
course of it? Yeah, I did. At one point, I was just like, "There's no point." Like that. Okay, that one thing, I'm gonna be real with you. Having acne made me realize, like, I'm not perfect. One, because when I was a kid, I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, I'm the shit type like kid. You know what I mean? Like all of that high horse type stuff, and that's not cool. So once I started getting that, I was like, oh, like, um, I'm not perfect, and my image is tarnished. You know what I mean? And then when I went to this other school, yeah, I was just like not fitting in with anyone, and I started to. It was very hierarchical. Yeah, high school, like it's a high school hierarchy. You know, like popular kids, jocks, nerds, whatever. But I often found myself just like not belonging in any of those groups. And I was just like a floater.
Yeah.
And so through doing that, I just learned to socialize and make friends in each, like one or two in each, and then, but like the very cool people who were like not very judgmental. You know, like you're self-conscious at a young age, but some people you just vibe with. You know, like they just strike a chord with you, and you're like, you know what, it's pretty cool. And so going through that experience and being kind of like the outsider, having no real like tight knit friends except the ones from elementary school, like just friends here and there, you know, to like keep you company, but no one like really to like tell all your stuff to, because at that age too, you're like very self-conscious, and you don't know who you can really trust, and you don't also know how to express or articulate your words to get it out. Sometimes it's just like it builds up and becomes like angst. And so for me, I felt like I was just very angsty, like an angsty teen. And it just built up. But through that, I did a lot of self-reflection about my life, and that
Did you also start drawing there, or already earlier?
No, drawing, like I've just always been drawing from when I was a kid.
Because
it's just that I never thought to use it as a form of like outputting my emotions or like self-expression until maybe like I want to say late to mid high school, because before I was just doing it for art projects, just school curriculum, like grade heavy stuff. But at that moment I was like, you know what, I have a lot of images and imagery going on in my head, and I feel like I should let it out, whether it's for other people to see, which mainly it wasn't in that type of stuff, or not. Like I was just like, yo, I need to like, it's like diary writing.
A journal.
Or journaling.
You draw your journal.
Yeah, it's like journaling for some. Like for me, like I just make pictures.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of words. Yeah.
That's so fascinating. Well, then, thank you so much. Do you want to imagine, just for a moment, you would have had like 30 to 60 seconds, and you would be live around the world on every television set. What would you want to impart to the world? Are you ready?
Fuck her right in the pussy. No, I'm playing. That was for the jokes. Anyways, I'll probably say take care of your parents, because respect your elders, because at a core, your elders have gone through the course of life, and they know so much more than all of us, especially like the really old ones. And some of them know things that like not all of us know, you know what I mean? So just respect your elders, like push love, and just be compassionate towards one another, because we're all on the same boat, trying to do the same thing at a core, if you think about it.
Yeah, push that love hard. Sorry, I had to. All right, that was a fun interview. Thank you so much.
Cool. No problem.
Well then, see you tomorrow, and explore, enjoy, share. Booyah.